Hello everyone, my name is Monish Bhavle. In this session, we have launched a series of public administration. What we have observed recently that nowadays UPSC is asking some questions which are not traditionally covered well by aspirants. Through our interaction with the aspirants and through in our test series program also, we have realized that they lack clarity in some aspects which nowadays UPSC is asking. See, even if you open the last year's paper, there were something called as Reddit model of leadership. Many people are not aware of this. Further, in the also past few years, you open up the question papers of UPSC, you can see a lot of questions on theory building, how the theory in public administration should be built. Further, many thinkers it has been asking like Bennis question also came once in recent years. He talks about temporary system, etc. That question has also come. But yes, many aspirants don't cover it well because it's not directly mentioned in the syllabus. Yes, that is the fact. Nowadays, UPSC has been asking questions which are on the periphery. Like said, thinkers like Bennis, even once they ask Karl Marx also. Karl Marx is important because he criticizes bureaucracy, and public administration is nothing but largely bureaucracy, public and administration. Okay. Also, many other thinkers are there like Waldo. Today we'll discuss Waldo in detail. Also, many strategic contingency theory, social capital theory which have been asked. Which, yes, their material is not much available there, but they haven't been asking. And the trick nowadays what UPSC is doing, see, if you remove last year's paper, yes, we know that we have to write 3 questions and there are 5, question 1 and question 5 is compulsory. We have to write those 10 questions and 3 questions which has, each question has 3 subsections. So what UPSC is doing, see A, B, C, you have to choose. In B or C, UPSC is putting, or any of these A, B, C, UPSC is putting that type of questions. But what that trick they are also doing, other questions will be very simple. This will be very simple and this will be moderately simple or moderately difficult, but this will be extremely difficult because in those areas which largely not covered by people. So if we miss this, then question marks will come down. So better strategy will be to get fully prepared, because this you may know very well, this also you may know very well, this you don't have any idea. So the goal of this series is to keep you prepared for any type of questions, and you can also would not be falling the trap of UPSC set by this way. Okay. So in this session we'll talk about Dwight Waldo. Dwight Waldo. See, what we have observed, whenever open past year question papers, you will find many questions on Dwight Waldo. There is a pattern of, so after some years UPSC asks questions on Dwight Waldo. So long overdue question is there in Dwight Waldo. It can come this year also, it may come in this year's mains. Previously UPSC was asking this type of question for 10 marks, in that is in question 1 and question 5. Here it used to put largely in question 1 because it section 1 focuses on the first 4 chapters in your mains paper. Once UPSC also asks Dwight Waldo for 20 marks. So it becomes difficult to write. Also UPSC connects Dwight Waldo with other variables also in theory building, etc. They connect. See, that also that's that trap. This will be easy, tough question A, B, C. This will be difficult. Sorry, this will be tough and this will be easy questions. So better strategy should be to have a holistic preparation. And what we have also observed, whenever something we ask on Dwight Waldo, people just keep writing about NPA, New Public Administration, and what they write, Minobrook 1 conference and Minobrook 2 conference. but Dwight Waldo's contribution is more than this. Okay, so we'll discuss Dwight Waldo in this session. Hopefully it will be helpful for your examination. Now, Dwight Waldo, see, he is one of the most important thinkers in public administration. We know he was the chairman for Minnowbrook 1 and 2 conferences. It was his idea that led to the initiation of new public administration. So Minnowbrook 1, 2, 3, now 4 will also happen in 2028. So Dwight Waldo, his contribution is very impactful in public administration. Some of the important publications by him were, yes, the most famous, Administrative State. Also, many people are aware of this Administrative State, but he also wrote many books. Some of the prominent publication and papers and books were this, the study of public administration. See, study of public administration. Don't get confused with study of administration. That is by Woodrow Wilson, the father of public administration. Study of administration, the essay published by Woodrow Wilson, and study of public administration is by Dwight Waldo. Okay. Next, he also talks about how bureaucracy and democracies are incompatible. So he published 2 papers on that. Democracy, and hypocrisy. He talks about bureaucracy, democracy and hypocrisy. This is one publication, and another publication was Bureaucracy, Democracy, a Strained Relationship. Democracy and bureaucracy, a strained relationship. Yes, this was important publication. Also, yes, it can be helpful. You can refer these publications when writing examples. Write 1 or 2 lines in background. This can be helpful. Write anything, but it depends on the question also. What kind of question is? If the question asks Waldo's view on bureaucracy and democracy, you can quote this. If it's more on administration, quote this paper, Administrative State. Okay, that is, it will help enriching your answers. Okay. Yes, enrichment is needed. 1 or 2 extra mark per question will make a huge difference. 19 questions, I guess you need to have attempt in options. In all, 10, 10, 3, 3, 3. So 1 mark, see, 19 marks, highly 19 marks extra in paper 1, and then 19 marks extra in paper 2. So okay, this is largely his publication. Also, one important thing, he was not only a thinker, he was also a practitioner. He also practiced public administration. He was appointed as an administrative analyst also. Where? In the Bureau of Budget in Washington DC. So, practitioner also. Appointed as an administrative analyst in the Bureau of Budget. In the US government. So Bureau of Budget is more akin to our Ministry of Finance. Okay. Also many other positions he held in the government. Or not only this, he also went to Italy to study. He was invited to Italy to study Italian administration and suggest reforms. So he studied Italian administration also. Italian administration. So any similarities you can see with whom? Yes, Woodrow Wilson. He also studied. Woodrow Wilson also studied other countries, European administration. So he also was comparative public administration. You can connect with comparative public administration also. CPA. Yes, he was also associated with the CPA, comparative administration, because he was also associated with comparative administration group, that is CAG, comparative administration group, which, yes, comparative public administration had a comparative public administration group. Very important topic, chapter 7 also of your syllabus, paper 1, comparative public administration. So he was associated with that also. Also, he was editor in many publications like the American Political Science Review, American Quarterly Review. Also, he was a member of ASPA, American Society for Public Administration. ASPA, he was also a member of this. So, in net, Waldo is not only NPA. Yes, NPA was his most important contribution, but this also is there. Also, his views on especially classical theory, behavioral theory, modern organizations theory are very much important and very much relevant. Also, his views on administration, how administration should be. So that we'll discuss now. Okay. So yes, Waldo will briefly sketch out the blueprint of Waldo's views, like the structure. Okay. So Waldo. So he gives views on everything in public administration. So Waldo's view on classical theories, classical theorist. Waldo's view on behavioral theorist. Further, he also uses views on a little bit. He also talks about neoclassical theories, that is the human relation theory, just a passing reference he gives, but he also talks in detail on modern organization theory. His views on administration as well. So views on administration means largely on Weber. Also, he also tells what future organization will be. Future organization in the future, what kind of organizations there will be. So it also talks about future organizations. Okay, so this is largely what Waldo talks about, gives in views on this all. Yes, yes, many people don't have clarity. What is behavioral theories? What are classical theories? What are neoclassical theories? So, okay, briefly I'll revise. We'll also most likely keep a session on that also, theory building, etc. So, see, classical theories. Theorist. Classical theorist means the theories given by, yes, Waldo, Fayol, Gulick and Urwik. This is classical theorist. Sorry, classical theorist. Theories given by Taylor, Fayol and Gulick and Urwik. Taylor, Fayol, Gulick and Urwik. Taylor, Fayol, these are all classical theorists. Then neoclassical theorist. Neoclassical theorist means Neoclassical theories means human relation theory of Elton Mayo. That is neoclassical theories. Human relation theory, Elton Mayo. Then comes behavioral theories. Yes, behavioral theories by Bernard and Simon. Bernard is the spiritual father of behavioral schools. So Bernard and Simon. Next will come, see, classical theories will come. Just let us revise. Classical theories means theories by Taylor, Fayol, Gullik and Urvik. Neoclassical theories are human relation theory by Elton Mayo. Behavioral theories by Bernard and Simon. Next, human relation theories. Neo human relation theories. This, yes, the three people, MacGregor, Argyris and Likert. Argyris and Likert. Okay, neo-human relation theories, they talk about democracy, participation, fluid organization based on a matrix type organization where everyone has equal authority and responsibility. The structure, the Weberian triangle vanishes there. It's more fluid organization. Okay, and next is modern organization theory. Modern organization theory means contingency theory and systems theory. Also there is strategic contingency theory also. We'll discuss in coming sessions that too. So modern organization theory is systems theory. And contingency theory. So this is largely the theories in public administration: classical, neoclassical, human relation, neo-human relation. This is also called as participatory theories. Also modern organization theories, that is systems theory and contingency theory. Okay, just a brief background. Now let's come to Waldo. Waldo, classical theorist. What he says on Waldo's view on classical theories. Waldo on classical theories. Just a brief background. We should also know what the crux of classical theorist was. So they talk about, yes, science of administration. There should be public administration should be based on science. So science of administration, science. They talk about science. Yes, we know science. Taylor talks about scientific management principles, science. Gullik and Urvik, they published the papers. What was the title of that papers? Papers on science of administration. So all they were talking about science. Even Fayol also to a certain extent. Then they gave a view on public administration dichotomy. That public administration dichotomy, politics administration dichotomy. That politics and administration should be separate. So politics administration dichotomy. And also they talk about what they talk about. Generic management, that is universal principles. Generic management and universal principles. That principles are universal, they can be applied in any organization, be it public or private. So it is generic management. That is universal principles. So largely this is what classical thinkers talk about. Classical theory is science, science of administration. Public administration should be a science. Okay. Here politics, administration dichotomy, and generic management, that is universal principles. So this is largely the crux of classical thinkers. So let's one by one what Waldo says on this. So Dwight Waldo. So first was science. Classical thinkers tags over science based public administration. Okay. So what Dwight Waldo says, see, can administration be science? I don't think so. Even Waldo says administration cannot be a science. Public administration can never be a science. But classical thinkers are talking about scientific management. Scientific management, those principles of scientific management, when these principles will be applied in an organization, there will be science. This is what Taylor said. Also, Gulick and Urvik, they gave those principles, and those principles will promote science in administration. They wanted to create a science in administration. The papers also, like we said, they published Science of Administration were their papers titled. But Waldo says what? Waldo says there can never be a science in administration. It can never, public administration can never be a science. So he rejects this science. It's totally rejected. Why? He gives some reasons. What is public administration first? Public administration. What is public administration? Public means people. Administer means this is people. Administration is derived from the word administer, means serving the people. So public administration is about the people. Are human beings objective? No, because they have emotions, they have feelings, they have belief, and public administration deals with the people. So how there can be science in administration? And human being is a subjective being. He is a highly complex person. Sometimes he is rational, sometimes he is irrational. Even Simon to a certain extent said there is administrative man, social man, and economic man. So people are irrational. Sometimes they are irrational, sometimes they are rational. There are feelings, they have beliefs, belief system is there. But they wanted to create science which he rejects because he gives the reason this people involved. So that's why he says public administration can never be a science. At most it can become an applied science. So Waldo says not science but applied science. This is what Waldo says. Public administration can become an applied science. Yes, he also agrees certain science can be there, but not a pure science like this. How the classical thinkers were talking about applied science. So there is, because people are involved in science. Yes, certain principles can be developed. He says with observation, systematization, certain level of science can be there, but not in this way, not an absolute science. Yes, a public administration can become an applied science. So this is his view on science of administration. No science of administration according to Waldo, but applied science. Never it can become a science in true sense. This is what Waldo talks about. Okay. So next principle, he gives views on politics, administration, dichotomy. Now politics, administration, dichotomy. Politics, administration, dichotomy, the classical principle, even Woodrow Wilson, yes, we know the one principle was politics, administration, dichotomy. Hope you know what is political administration dichotomy. Politics dichotomy means separation. That is, politics and administration should be separate. Politics, he says, deals with politics largely deals with policy formulation. They formulate policies. Yes, in India also political parties formulate policies. That is budget also they formulate, etc. They formulate. Modi ji has his own policies. Policies like, yes, minimum government, maximum governance. That is also one policy. And administration is deals with execution of policies. Okay, execution. That is implementation of policies. So there should be a separation of formulation and implementation. Yes, to large extent it is true. District collector, etc. implements policy. But Waldo also reject this. There can't be complete separation of politics and administration. So Waldo rejects this. Rejects politics administration dichotomy. He says there can't be complete separation. There is also fusion of politics and administration. Yes, in India also there is fusion, because we know politicians also implement policies. Yes, one example is there. Many schemes like MP lad scheme, where member of parliament are role as implementers. Also Sansad Adarsh Gram Yojana, they also implement schemes. MP lad apt example. Also we know bureaucrats also play a role in formulation. Niti Aayog, the think tank, yes, policy formulation, Niti Aayog. So yes, we can agree with Waldo also, this can't be complete separation. So he also rejects this view of classical thinkers. There can't be complete separation of politics and administration. Now come to principles, generic management. He says principles, yes, universal principles were the forte of classical thinkers. The 14 principles of Fayol, division of work, authority and responsibility, unity of command, unity of direction, etc. Fayol principles are universal. Gulick and Urvik also gave some principles. Even scientific management, the scientific management aspects are universal to public and private organization. What Waldo says on this? Waldo further says, these principles are nothing but application of common sense. They are not so unique. Application of common sense. He also rejects the universality of this principle. He rejects cosmic constitutionalism. That is, he rejects cosmic constitutionalism. Cosmic constitution, that is, in the entire cosmos, even if there is one organization, any organization you set up, these principles, universal principles, will act as a constitution. He says no, they are not universal. It depends on the context also, whether this principle apply or no. Yes, because yes, we discussed initially he studied Italian administration, where he found the shortcomings of these principles. Principles are not fit there for the Italian administration. So he had studied Italian administration. He had studied Italian administration. And these were not found suitable. These principles were not found suitable by him. So he rejects this principal approach also. So let's revise. See, Waldo on classical thinkers, science. So he rejects science also. There can't be a science of administration. At most, It can be an applied science. Public administration can never be a true science because it's human values are involved. Humanity, human values. That is, it has what? Feelings. Human has feelings, emotions. You cannot take away emotions from the person. So it brings subjectivity. Also, public administration is, like the definition says, public, that is people, administration means serve the people. This is, so he rejects also political administration dichotomy. There can't be separation between politics and administration. There should be fusion. This is what he says. Because we discussed that the politics also do policy execution and administration also does policy formulation. He further rejects the generic management universal principles. There can't be cosmic constitutionalism. Universal these principles are nothing but application of common sense. So he rejects the classical theorists. So this has been rejected by Waldo. So next, behavioral theory, his views on behavioral theorists. See, behavioral theorists. So behavioral theorists. So largely he talks about Simon, behavioral theorists. So see, behavioral theorists largely Simon, Bernard also spiritual father of behavioral school. Yes, Bernard's famous book, The Functions of the Executive. Okay, so behavioral, see what they talked about. Simon largely he talks about Simon. What Simon says, Simon also rejects totally the classical the principles. Herbert Simon also rejects. He calls principles are nothing but proverbs. Simon says principles are proverbs. They are self-contradictory. For every principle there is an opposite principle. Okay. Then he also talks about science based on logical positivism. Science should be based on logical positivism. So science based administration based on logical positivism. Yes, we'll discuss in this series also, we'll discuss logical positivism. There also we find some people, in general, people lack some clarity on that. Logical positivism. And yes, he talks about fact value dichotomy. Another dichotomy. Politics administration dichotomy, now fact value dichotomy. So largely this is what the behavioral theorist talks about. They all talks about this to achieve managerial efficiency. Okay. Bernard talks about dynamic efficiency in the form of contribution satisfaction equivalent, and he says, Simon, when there is fact based decision, then decision will be most rational, so there will be highest form of efficiency. Okay. So this is largely behavioral theories in crux in what they intend to say. So let's come one by one on the views of Waldo on all this. So first of all, Waldo says this Simon, he rejects everything. He rejects classical thinkers, classical theories. But see what he's talking. He talks about this science-based administration. Now, so was classical theorists. Science, yes, they were talking about science. He rejects the classical theories. Classical theories also talks about public politics administration dichotomy, and here he brings different dichotomy. Fact and value is more of public politics and administration dichotomy. Value largely realm of politics, and facts, rationality, that is realm of administration. Okay. So this is so what Simon does then. Simon brings back, he criticizes them as proverbs, etc., rejects the classical theories, they ignore the behavioral aspect. But see here, more or less similar to classical theorists. So that's why Waldo calls him or radical conservist. Radical conservist. So radical and conservist. This is what Waldo calls him. Radical conservist. See, radically he rejects them, radically rejects everything, but he's also conservist. He talks about the same things. Yes, here Waldo attacks one by one. So again, same principles he used. First, see fact value dichotomy. Fact value dichotomy means separation of facts and values. Again, here also Waldo gives the same reason. How you can separate values in administration when administration deals with people, serving the people. So, can values be separated? Can administration be totally fact based? No, it can't be according to Waldo. So, he rejects this also. Behavioral, that Simon's principle. Then he further talks about what the behavioral talks about. Logical positivism, that is science based administration. As science, administrative science also talks about science based on logical positivism approach. So he has been also been criticized by other thinkers for creating a physics out of administration. Yes, same views Waldo gives, same way he criticizes, how we criticize classical thinkers, same way he criticizes Simon also. Yes, because yes, science administration can't be totally science because human aspects, so at most it can be an applied science. So he rejects this also principle of Simon. So this way he rejects all the behavioral theorists and thinkers. But he also further appreciates a bit of next thinkers, the participative thinkers or neo-human relation thinkers, for democratizing the organization. They talk about participation, interactive influence system, transactional influence. McGregor talks about transactional influence, interactive influence was Likert, and yes, metric organization of Argyris. He appreciates that a bit, little bit. Okay, so after this, Waldo then comes to modern organization theories. Modern organization theories. Yes, modern organization theories are those theories, systems theory and contingency theory, also strategic contingency theory, systems theory, and strategic contingency theory or contingency theory for the time being. Yes, you know this, I'll briefly explain. See, systems theory takes into account the environment. So environment and the organization has a cohesive relation. Change in the environment, the organization should also change, otherwise it will face entropy, that is destruction. And yes, contingency theory talks about the specific aspects. When the environment is stable, the organization should be routine. When our environment is unstable, then organization should be innovative, a more matrix type organization. A pyramidal organization won't be suitable when the environment is highly dynamic. You have to innovate continuously to remain relevant. So many private organizations, be it Apple or Microsoft, etc., highly successful organization, have a very flat organization. Anyone can talk with anyone. There is not a big hierarchy like in India. We see in the government organization, there won't be chambers, etc. Chambers, you go to government office, you will find chambers. One chamber, two other chamber will keep running. But in private organization, it's more of a flat. One big hall will be there. Everyone will sit with everyone. A big community type organization. Anyone can talk with anyone, not a hierarchy. So that kind of organization is needed for innovation. Okay. So what he says, he even criticizes them. He says they too have ignored the human aspect. So human aspect too have been ignored. So this also has been ignored. Human has also been ignored in this. Human has been ignored. How? See, whenever change in the environment is there, what this theory talks about, they say there should be change in structure of the organism. Structure can be pyramidal or flat. So they talk about structure. This is Waldo says, rather than people. They ignore people. They just say that structure should be flexible according to the environment. Again, ignoring the people in the organization. So they also reject this. They, as in Waldo, rejects this also. So he keeps rejecting everything. First he rejected classical theories, then he rejected behavioral theories. Now he rejects modern organizational theories as well, theorists as well. So then let's come to his view on administration. What he says on administration. Administration means largely Weber. Yes, Weberian bureaucracy, paradigm hierarchical, based on merit, competence, technical skills, division of work, centralization. Those are the features of Weber. So let's come to Weber. That is his views on administration. His views on Waldo's views on administration. Waldo's view on administration. Yes, he says, see, this type of hierarchical organization or pyramidal organization is not suitable. See what? See there, because there is a relation between bureaucracy and democracy. Bureaucracy, yes, the bureaucrats are work under democracy. That is, they work for the politicians, which are democratically elected by the people. So he says this type of administration, due to this type of administration, there is always a conflict between bureaucracy and democracy. So there is a conflict between bureaucracy and democracy. So there is always a conflict between bureaucracy and democracy. Now you will say, how there is a conflict? Yes, see, inherently bureaucracy and democracy. Okay, bureaucracy is what? Is rational bureaucracy. This is what Weber talks about, ideal bureaucracy, which is based on merit, technical competence, division of work. So, and rational bureaucracy. But democracy is based on what? Democracy is based on values of liberty, equality, fraternity, values of social justice. So democracy is based on values. Bureaucracy promotes exclusivity. Bureaucracy has exclusive powers to police the people, exclusive powers to implement laws. Exclusive powers are also in India. Various organizations, CBI, ED, etc. have exclusive powers. So bureaucracy promotes exclusivity. And this is exclusive, and democracy is, yes, participative. Yes, participative. People vote. People have participation. People vote, elect the MPs, then they elect the MPs, then ministers, then government is formed. So, yes, it is participative. Yes, and these are appointed, merit-based appointment. That is Weber talks about. Your technical competence should be there. So, They are merit based appointment, merit based appointment. And here they are elected, appointed, elected. So see that inherent difference between bureaucracy and democracy. Bureaucracy is used to what? To promote democracy. In India also, whenever there is a change in the government, the bureaucrats ensure there is a peaceful transition of power. So it helps democracy. Also, bureaucracy is also responsible for conducting free and fair elections, Election Commission of India. But see, it is totally structurally different from democracy. So there is an inherent conflict. They are totally different. They are totally different. So this is what Weber says. It is inherently against democracy. Yes, we have seen in India also lot of poverty, etc. exists. Bureaucratic failure. They are not able to implement democracy, because also how it not able to implement democracy? It promotes, yes, exclusivity. It's against participation. It promotes secrecy also. Bureaucracy is an information hoarder. Though RT has come, but in RT also a lot of amendments are there. Personal information, etc. cannot be given on the RT. So we can see it is at loggerheads all the time. So yes, Waldo says there is inherent conflict between bureaucracy and democracy. So he also rejects this, rejects Weber. He rejects Weberian model. So what solution he provides? Okay, he's rejecting everything. He doesn't provide any broad solution, but he gives a view. He says there should be a marriage between bureaucracy and democracy. There should be a marriage between bureaucracy and democracy. And did this marriage happen? Yes. Yes. According to him, NPA, New Public Administration, brought a new romanticism in public administration. So, NPA, New Public Administration, brought a new romanticism. New public administration got a new romanticism. How it brought the new romanticism in public administration? It gave preference to what? Feelings over mind. Preference to feelings over reasoning or rationality. Gave preference to feelings over rationality. New public administration. Yes, I'll explain a bit further. You'll understand. NPA gave preference to feelings over reasoning and rationality. Also, NPA gave preference to senses. You understand sense? Human sense, touch, seeing, hearing, senses. Or mind. And also it what? It gave preference to creativity, spontaneity, and spontaneity. Or rule based, or following just rules. This is the new romanticism brought by NPA in public administration. Yes, how can you relate with NPA? The 5 goals and 3 anti-goals reflect this. What are the 5 goals? See, 5 goals. 5 goals of NPA: relevance, change, values, social equity, and citizen centricism, client orientation or citizen centricism. This 5 goals NPA, I guess everyone knows, and 3 anti goals. 3 anti goals what? Anti-positivist, anti-hierarchical, and anti-technical. So 3 anti goals: anti-hierarchical, anti-technical, and anti-positivist. That is, there should not be a positivist approach to theory building. So see, values, talks about values. So feelings over rationality, talks about social equity, creativity, change orientation can happen only when there is creativity and spontaneity. This will overcome rule-based orientation, that you should think outside the box, out of the box thinking, rule, that is outside the box of the rules. So this is largely what he talks about administration. There should be a marriage between democracy and bureaucracy, and NPA according to him brought this new romanticism, where he gives preference to feelings over rationality, reasoning. He gives preference to senses over the mind, creativity, spontaneity over the rules. Okay, which you can relate with the 5 goals and 3 anti goals of NPA, the Minobrook 1 conference. Okay. So next, this is what largely he talks about, that it rejects the classical theories, the behavioral theories. He rejects modern organization theories, and he gives this view on administration. Now let's come to what he talks about the future organization. Future organizations, how it will be. Future organization, now we all know, he totally rejects the hierarchical organizations. He has rejected what? He has rejected, yes, Weber. So he says it will be, future organization will be more of public and private, combination of public and private, public plus private organization. This will be more complex organization. This will be highly complex organization, because we don't know which is public and which is private. Organization will be, yes, more international and multinational. More international and multinational. Yes, to a large extent we can see here also how public and private sometimes overlap, the public-private partnership models, even private organization doing public service, yes, CSR activities, even public organizations want efficiency of private sector. So PPP is one complex organization, yes, difficult to regulate. Where PPP, from where it will regulate? Should private public sector be regulate? Which regulatory agency should regulate? Difficult to know which regulation that is. That then happens, the regulatory shopping happens, regulatory capture also. So now more international and multinational, yes, many multinational organizations we know, private organizations are multinational, even WHO, etc. are also multinational organizations. So this is, he predicts the future organization. So also he further says there will be two situations, two scenarios in the future. One will be a totalitarian scenario. And other will be anarchical scenario. This, okay, this two scenarios he's giving. So totalitarian, not that totalitarian state, he talks in context of administration. So totalitarian scenario means it is more like there will be overlap between public and private in terms of public morality. Public morality of public and private sector will overlap. So public morality will overlap in public and private sector. So public morality means is largely public interest. So both will pursue public interest. So it will be difficult to tell what is public interest. Even today we don't know what is public interest. Yes, I'll explain that also. Anarchical scenario. So he talks about that it will be many social and economic institutions will come up. Many socio-economic institutions will come up. And it will be a diffuse type organization. Diffused, you understand diffused? Diffuse type organization, I guess. Fused, prismatic and diffracted society. Diffused means these organizations will perform multiple functions. There will be many functions performed by single organization. So he says public here, because of this, public morality will become ambiguous. Becomes ambiguous. So yes, even today public morality is highly ambiguous. That is, what is public interest? Can anyone define public interest? Very difficult to define. Is public interest greatest good for greatest number of people, or is public interest the capability approach, increasing capability? We don't know what is the public interest. It largely it remains undefined. And also we also know the problem of defining public administration, because we don't know what is public interest. So it remains ambiguous. See, highly relevant today. Yes, diffuse models. Many institutions are performing different functions. Even private sector is performing public functions. Public functions are being also performed by NGOs, and public sector is also wants efficiency of the private sector, highly diffused. So see, relevance even today. Question also come, outline the relevance of public of Waldo in today's time. So this all you have to write. Questions have come in the past where Simon etc. relevance in today's times it was had. So why can't ask Waldo? So this way you have to write. If they ask Waldo, he further says, he talks about further developments. He says in the near future it will be like watching a movie from end to the start. So we are going towards the past again. That's why he also further says that he rejects the ahistorical approach in public administration. Ahistorical, some thinkers don't take history into consideration while talking about public administration. So he rejects a historical approach. So he says history is very important to understanding public administration. Yes, historical approach like Kautilya administration, all historical approach. We study the past administration also. But in US, in public administration largely starts with the publication of Woodrow Wilson's essay, The Study of Administration. So he rejects that ahistorical approach. So here he, while talking about the future organizations, uses a historical approach. Is like watching a movie from the end to the start. So it is again we are going to the past. So he says sovereignty of the states will be dissolved. Sovereignty of states will be dissolved. Yes, we know how sovereignty concept came, Treaty of Westphalia. So they defined borders, then this territoriality, then he says it will be dissolved. The world will become what? World will become more, world will become more unified, more unified, more unified and not uniform. Form. This he talks about the world will become more unified, not uniform. He also says the world will become more harmonious rather than homogeneous. World will be harmonious than homogeneous. So he talks about the world also, what world will become. See, largely today this is happening. It is unified, interconnected, globalization, etc. is becoming more unified, not uniform. Yes, it's not uniform. Localization is happening. Global and local are meeting, and different practices which are being followed, particularly that culture of that environment. Chinese bureaucracy is highly efficient because it is according to the Chinese environment. Indian bureaucracy is largely wavering. We know there are certain issues. That's why domain expertise, etc. reforms are needed. So he talks about will become more unified, not uniform, harmonious, not homogeneous. Harmonious, promoting peace, etc. Rather than homogeneous, yes. Singularity won't be imposed, homogeneous. So he further talks about, now this will increase the complexity of the administration. The administration will be contractual. Contractual administration. Contractual administration becoming more contractual, more and more informal. There will be more informal relationships. So contractual informal relationship where you can connect. You can connect with Indian administration. Lateral entry is contractual and there exists informal relation. They are not recruited like you through an examination. There are interviews and they are fitted in that particular organization where they have expertise. They don't have the Weberian ethos of loyalty, commitment and spirit of service. So contractual, you can connect lateral entry. So do mention Waldo when question comes on lateral entry. Very hot topic this year. Every time it's a news, UPSC has generally asked lateral entry question. We'll also discuss lateral entry in the coming sessions. In this series, yes, we'll cover paper 2 also, some important things which are in news. Lateral entry like the regulatory capture of SEBI, conflict of interest. So SEBI regulatory capture, that also it can come. Regulation is also one of the topics in public administration in organizational chapter. So yes, he talks about lateral entry. Yes. In once UPSC asked lateral entry in both the papers in the same year. Paper 1 also it asked lateral entry and paper 2 also it asked lateral entry. See, whenever in news, lateral entry becomes a very hot topic. We'll discuss that also in the coming session. So here he talks about contractual and informal relationship. So see, this is largely Waldo. See, we can also say, see, Waldo's contribution is not just limited to NPA. That is Brook 1 and Brook 2 conference. This all also contribution is there. Waldo is very important thinker. UPSC has been asking, but people don't generally cover Waldo. So because of this, see what? Because of this importance, Waldo, the other thinkers, Carroll and Fredrickson. Carroll and Fredrickson. Carroll and Fredrickson. Carroll and Fredrickson, what they talked, they commented on Waldo. If you want to do research on public administration, even today you should have Waldo. If you want to study public administration even today, you should have Waldo. If you even want to practice public administration today, you should have Waldo. So see his relevance even today. Yes, largely we also discussed how it's even relevant even today. Lateral entry, contract based appointment, how the world is changing. Unified, not uniform. Harmonious, not homogeneous. So yes, very important quote. If you want to study administration today, wait, I'll write again properly. Carroll and Fredrickson. Carroll and Fredrickson, if you want to study administration today, you should have Waldo. Yes, if you want to do research on administration today, you should have Waldo. If you want to practice administration today, you should have Waldo. See his relevance, highly relevant thinker. That's why UPSC keeps asking Waldo, because of this relevance. Yes, I am reiterating, Waldo's contribution is not just limited to NPA. Yes, this all aspects are also there. He also gives his views on definition and scope of public administration. What he says on definition of public administration? He says every definition gives a mental paralysis rather than enlightenment, as every definition explains public administration only from a limited point of view. It does not tell holistically. Yes, because public administration is itself a complex. Some people say fact value dichotomy, some say politics administration dichotomy, and he rejects everything. It's a science, it's not a science, it's applied science. Yes, every definition will give only limited understanding, so it will lead to mental paralysis. Create a mental paralysis rather than enlightenment and simulation. So he says it cannot be defined. Further, he says scope of the public administration cannot also be defined, because activities of the public administration cannot be defined. Activities, sometimes policy implementation, sometimes formulation, sometimes policy regulation. What are the activities of public administration? So once activities are defined, then only we can define the scope. But the activities and scope is ever expanding. So no scope, no activities can be defined, so no definition of public administration. This is what Waldo says. Yes, but public administration has been defined by Minobrook 3 conference. See the irony. Minobrook 1 and 2 were headed by Waldo, and 3 headed by Larry Rose O'Mary. Minobrook 3, see 1, Minobrook 2 and Minobrook 3. Waldo, I guess, here different chairman, here he is rejecting definition, no definition, but Minobrook 3 happened in 2008 and they defined public administration. Public administration as a socially embedded process of collective relationship, dialogue and action to promote human flourishing for all. So human values, see, human flourishing for all, collective relationship, dialogue and action, socially embedded process, collective relationship, dialogue and action, and promote human flourishing for all. So they relate with society and human values. But also we can also see relevance of Waldo post this definition also. Is public administration only limited to promoting human flourishing, that is promoting human values? Absolutely no. Public administration also deals with regulation, policy formulation, even it suppresses humans through law and order. So yes, even if you see ironically, it's even relevant today. So that's why Waldo, very important thinker. I think its question is long overdue in UPSC. It will come again, open past year papers, 15, 19, every time, every other year it keeps on coming. Now I think, yes, it may come this year also. So yes, do study, hope. Okay, we'll revise also once. Yes, we'll revise. See, Waldo, first he rejects the classical theories, science-based administration, no politics administration dichotomy. Then he rejects the principles, universal principles cannot be also there. There can't be cosmic constitutionalism. Then he rejects this science-based, etc. Then behavioral thinkers he rejects. Behavioral, that he calls Simon a radical conservationist. Then further he rejects the modern organizational theories. Then further he goes and rejecting Weber also, his views on administration, because they intrinsically administration and bureaucracy are at loggerheads all the time. See the structural difference, totally different. How they exist together. So it calls about a marriage between bureaucracy and democracy. So it brings a new romanticism. Then yes, then he talks about all this, that the future organization, etc. Then the world, how the world will be, administration should be, then would be contract based. Yes, then NPA happened. Then he defined. Also, he gives views on definition, scope. Then Monoblock 3 defined. Then this, there also you can see Waldo's relevance is not only socially embedded process. Public administration is more than that. So largely relevant. See, that's why very important for UPSC. This year it may come, next year it may come. Question is long overdue. It keeps appearing. So yes, many don't have clarity. So our intention of this series is to cover all those aspects. Yes, paper 2 also will be covering some aspects which are in a lot of news nowadays. We try to connect with the paper 2 aspects with thinkers also, the lateral entry, etc. SEBI, many issues are there. We'll discuss in this series. See, just one caveat. This series is will be helpful for people who have already read public administration well. Okay, because see, this is advanced topics. It will be helpful for enriching your content, or even many times direct questions have also come. So that way also it can help. See, when you question comes on lateral entry and you quote Waldo, yes, extra 1 or 2 marks you will get. Where he talks about contract-based appointment. Lateral entry is contract-based appointment, yes. Not for till the retirement of 60 years. Okay, bureaucracy is permanent. 60 years till you are there. So that way it is helpful. Yes, the caveat is new people may find it difficult to understand. Yes, this is advanced level of public administration. It is helpful for people who already read public administration well and who are also appearing for the mains. I guess almost a month now or less than a month left. So let's see. Hopefully these videos will be helpful for you. Happy learning, happy learning public administration. Hope you achieve your endeavors in civil services. Okay then, all the best.